Hello toppers. Today we will be discussing one of the interesting topic regarding our human body. So how our body reacts to the pressure changes in blood in a normal way. So let's pop into the wisdom of human body. So simple, our body is always dynamic in nature. There will be somewhere increase in the parameters and there will be decrease in the parameters in a normal day-to-day life. But even apart from all those things, how the harmonious, how our internal environment is maintained in a perfect way. So that was the question, and that was named as homeostasis, which is one of the important wisdom of our human body. So let's see in detail regarding that. Homeostasis is nothing but the steady internal physical and chemical condition maintained by the living organisms, mainly all the multicellular organisms. So let's see who was the one who had proposed regarding this homeostasis first. It was Claude Bernard, who belonged to the 19th century, and he had mentioned it as milieu interior, and he had told that man is living in a perfectly organized and controlled environment, and he was the first one to talk regarding this subject of homeostasis and how things are well kept inside the human body. And then Walter B. Cannon, who had coined the name homeostasis, and he was the professor of Harvard University. So let's see what the word meaning is. Homeo means same and stasis means standing. So maintaining the body in a same way, harmonious way is its meaning. So now we know what is homeostasis, and let's see how it is maintained inside the body. It is maintained with the help of two feedback mechanisms, that is positive feedback and negative feedback. So let's see what is negative feedback mechanism. So simple, I'll give you an example. If we are trying something new, either in cooking or either we are trying some good skill orientation things, so we will be asking for the feedback how I am doing. So either people will be if people are saying negative feedback like you have to improve in this aspect, and if someone is saying this is not good for you, you can try some other thing, what we will do, we will check once, and we will, if we are finding it appropriate, then we will try to either arrest the change or we will reverse the change. So that is the exact thing happening inside the negative feedback mechanism. It is the most common mechanism which we can see inside our body, and it can either arrest the change or reverse the direction of change. So here I'll quote you some example where negative feedback mechanism we can see, that is thermal regulation and in maintenance of endocrine hormones and maintenance of water balance inside our body. So this is an example of negative feedback mechanism. You can see the body temperature exceeding 37 degrees Celsius. So it is sensed by the sensor cells present in the skin and brain, and they are sending the stimulus to the temperature regulatory center in brain, that is none other than our hypothalamus. So from there, hypothalamus is stimulating the sweat glands to increase the sweat. So just because of sweating, there will be negative feedback mechanism informing the temperature to reduce because of the sweating. So here there will be information either to arrest the body temperature or reduce the body temperature. Then now let's see regarding the positive feedback mechanism. So for example, if anyone is motivating us in a very positive way, uh, we will try to excel ourselves in whatever we are doing. For example, if we are running in a match, and if anyone is motivating from the behind, what we will do, we will try to finish the line as soon as possible, and we will try to win the game. That is the exact thing which we can see in case of positive feedback mechanism. So I'm here just quoting an example of onset of labor as positive feedback mechanism. First, so because of the onset of labor, brain is stimulating the pituitary gland to secrete the oxytocin. This oxytocin is reaching the bloodstream to the uterus, and from there the oxytocin started stimulating the uterine contraction and pushing the head of the baby outside the cervix. Okay, and the head is once the head is started descending, what will happen, the nerve impulses which were present in the cervix, that will again pass the impulse and motivate the brain to secrete more oxytocin, motivate the hypothalamus to stimulate the posterior pituitary. So this is how the motivation will happen, and finally the baby will come out as we are touching the running march at the end. Okay, so this is the positive feedback mechanism. So let's see how BP regulation is maintained. So there are two different types of regulation, short term and long term or intermediate regulation. Short term is maintained with the help of baroreceptor reflex and chemoreceptor reflex, and long term is and intermediate are maintained with the help of renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system and antidiuretic hormone. So before getting in detail regarding the blood pressure regulation, let's see how it is maintained in the brain. So mainly in brain, it is the vasomotor center which is controlling all the blood pressure changes. So it is present in the reticular part of medulla and in the lower pons. So there are three different types of area, that is vasoconstrictor area, vasodilator area and sensory area. So this vasoconstrictor area or cardio acceleratory area, with the name itself you can say that there will be acceleration of the heart. So here it is promoting the sympathetic activity. So what is the sympathetic activity? Sympathetic activity is none other than increasing the heart rate and vasoconstriction. And then comes vasodilatory area or cardioinhibitory area. So this is parasympathetic activity, that is decreased heart rate or vasodilator. Then at last sensory area. What this sensory area will do? It is present on the posterior part of the vasomotor center, and the main action is it will receive the impulses from the baroreceptor. Baroreceptor or chemoreceptor. They will receive the impulses, and once the impulse is reaching the sensory area, it will be analyzed and they will try to figure it out whether it is increased BP or decreased BP. So based on that, if there is increased BP, there will be stimulation of vasodilator area, and if there is decreased BP, there will be stimulation of vasoconstrictor area. So according to the stimulus, these areas will be stimulated. So let's see what is baroreceptor response. So whenever there is increase in BP, what will happen? Simple, there will be increase in the stretch of the blood vessels. So the receptors which were present in the carotid sinus, that is internal carotid artery, and the receptors present in the aortic arch usually senses the stretch response, and they will start firing their afferent activity to the sensory area in the brain, that is vasomotor center. And here it is clear, it will be starting stimulating the cardioinhibitory area, so there will be decrease in the blood pressure. So what is happening here? By passing the impulses to the vasomotor center, it is clear that there is increase in BP. So if there is increase in BP, the first response of our body has to decrease. So here it is analyzed in a perfect way, and they had decreased the sympathetic activity and increased the parasympathetic activity. So in case of increased parasympathetic activity, what will happen? There will be decreased heart rate and vasodilatation. So if there is decreased heart rate, there will be decreased cardiac output, and if there is decreased cardiac output, then the blood pressure will try to reduce. So in case of vasodilatation, what will happen? Because of vasodilatation in the periphery vessels mainly, there will be reduction in the peripheral vascular resistance. So once there is decrease in the peripheral vascular resistance, the perfusion will be more in the peripheral area. Perfusion of blood will be more in the peripheral area, like there will be increase. So because of distribution of blood, there will be blood is completely distributed all over the body. Now there will be reduction in the blood volume. So this volume will help in reducing the blood pressure. So this is the mechanism which happens when there is increased parasympathetic activity or increased vagal tone. We can say it as vagal tone also. So if there is, so this is the scenario when there is increase in the arterial BP. So let's see if there is decrease in the arterial BP also, the same mechanisms will be followed, and instead of increased parasympathetic activity, there will be increased sympathetic activity. So what will happen here? Because of increased sympathetic activity, there will be increase in the heart rate and there will be vasoconstriction. So if heart rate is increasing, cardiac output is increasing. If cardiac output is increasing, BP will rise because of the increased blood volume in the central system. And vasoconstriction, already there will be peripheral vascular resistance and now vasoconstriction will be there and it will increase the systemic peripheral vascular resistance more. So if there is resistance, then blood flow will be more in the central or main areas, like where the perfusion is much needed, like brain, heart and kidney and liver and lung. These 5 major organs will be receiving more blood and that will lead to restoration of BP to the normal. So this is how the homeostasis is maintained with the help of baroreceptor response. So then let us see regarding the chemoreceptor response. So chemo is nothing but chemical receptors. So let's see what are all the chemicals mainly stimulating these responses. So first let us see the location of these chemoreceptors, that is peripheral chemoreceptors we can see. Those are aortic bodies and carotid bodies. So carotid sinus is completely related with the baroreceptor, which you can see here inside, and this carotid body is situated in the bifurcation and which is connected with the ninth cranial nerve, which we had seen before, and this aortic body which is situated on the arch of aorta, which is connected with the 10th vagus nerve or 10th cranial nerve. Okay, so let's see what is the mechanism going inside. So here the main stimulating factor is hypoxia, hypercapnia and increased H plus ion, that is acidosis. So these are all the important stimulating factors, and because of this chemicals, the receptors in the aortic body and carotid body get stimulated and they will pass the afferent activity through the cranial nerve 9 and 10, and the impulses will be processed in the vasomotor sensor, first in the sensory area, then it will be instructing, then the vasomotor center will instruct either the cardioinhibitory or cardio acceleratory based upon the response. So here already we know the main stimulation is gaseous one. So the main work of this vasomotor center will be to increase the ventilation. So if there is any increase in the ventilation, what will happen? Hypoxia will reduce. That is, reduced oxygen will be normal if ventilation is improved, and the excess carbon dioxide will be removed out of the body through ventilation, and this acidosis will change. Okay, so this is the main aspect of chemoreceptor response, and adding to that there will be increase in the blood pressure. So based on these things the responses will be changing. Then still now we had seen the short term regulation. Let's see the intermediate and long term regulation, which is more and more interesting, that is RAAS and ADH. That is renin, angiotensin, aldosterone system and antidiuretic hormone effect over the regulation of BP. This is one of the most important mechanism which you have to remember all the time. So let's start. So the first issue, it is regarding BP. So here there is reduction in BP. So if there is reduction in BP, what will happen normally? First, there will be decreased perfusion to the main organ, like blood supply to the main organs will be reduced. So because of this, there will be receptors in the juxtaglomerular apparatus sensing there is reduction in the perfusion, and this juxtaglomerular apparatus presenting in the kidney, they will start secreting the renin, which is the most important hero in this mechanism. Okay, so what will happen, the liver is already having angiotensinogen, now we have to convert it. So renin is the main factor which help us in the conversion of angiotensinogen to angiotensin 1. So here this angiotensinogen is secreted into angiotensin 1 with the help of the action of renin. Okay, renin is the most important factor. So what is happening here? This angiotensin 1 is converted to angiotensin 2 with the help of ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme, which is secreted by the lung and kidney. Okay. So here this action is promoted, and finally our most important person to play the key role had formed, that is angiotensin 2. So let's see what are all the mechanisms promoted by this angiotensin 2. So first is sympathetic activity. There will be increase in the sympathetic activity, as we are very thorough about what sympathetic activity will do. So because of increased sympathetic activity, there will be increased heart rate and vasoconstriction. So vasoconstriction and heart rate will lead to increased BP, which is our ultimate aim. You can correlate here. Because of the reduction of BP only things had started. So sympathetic activity started. So there is increase in BP. Then what this aldosterone is doing? Its second work, it had gone to the tubules of the kidney and started promoting the reabsorption of sodium and chloride and potassium excretion. We all know whenever there is sodium and chloride coming in, potassium will get angry and go away. That is the normal mechanism all over our body. So along with salt, we also know that whenever there is salt, there will be water. You can remember that if you are eating salt, you have to drink water, that thing. So whenever there is reabsorption of sodium and chloride, then there will be retention of water also. This action is also promoted by our angiotensin 2. Then what our angiotensin 2 is doing in the third stage. So what they are doing, they are going to the adrenal gland. Okay, still now they had done all the work, and now they are going to the adrenal gland, which is present on the top of the kidney, and they start stimulating the adrenal cortex to secrete the aldosterone. So our aldosterone got secreted. So the action of aldosterone is also to do the same of sodium and water retention and potassium excretion. So now there is an added effect also. Okay, added effect of water retention you can see here. Then the fourth work done by angiotensin 2 is arteriolar vasoconstriction. Already here, because of sympathetic activity, vasoconstriction is happening. So adding to that, it is also promoting, angiotensin 2 is also directly promoting that. So there will be increased in the blood pressure. You can see the arrow marks indicating towards the center, showing there is vasoconstriction going on inside. And the fifth one, that is this angiotensin 2 will stimulate the posterior part of the pituitary to secrete the antidiuretic hormone or vasopressin. So everyone knows from the posterior pituitary only two hormones are arising, that is oxytocin and vasopressin are ADH. Okay. This oxytocin mainly helps in the labor, that is uterine contraction, which we had seen in the positive feedback mechanism. So this vasopressin here, it gets stimulated, and let's see what it is doing. It will go directly to the collecting duct of the kidney. Here what it will do, actually this is the collecting duct of the kidney. Here it will activate the receptors. Here there will be small receptors called aquaporins. So what they will do, aquaporins will be opened and they will start the water reabsorption. Okay, so finally water reabsorption is happening and lot of things are going on because of this five mechanism. Let's see at the last what is happening, whether our aim is achieved or not. So finally our aim had been reached, that is water and salt retention achieved, and because of that there is effective circulating volume, and because of that what will happen, there will be increase in BP. So by sensing all these things, one reflex is going from here in the opposite direction and it is going to the kidney, and they are saying please stop your work, things had been normalized. So it is instructing, this reflex is instructing the kidney not to secrete the renin anymore. So you can notice one important thing, this reverse action from the result to the cause. It is the negative feedback mechanism, and the green color you can see it is going in only one direction. So that is the positive feedback mechanism. So you can understand the effect of these mechanisms very easily, even with the one simple effect. So this is the greatest wisdom lurking inside our human body. It is mainly related to blood pressure changes only, and there are lot of actions like vasoactive peptide changes, ANP, atrial natriuretic peptide also contributing to the changes in blood pressure, and lot of other things also. I had just discussed only the few important mechanisms related with blood pressure, and thank you so much.